Faithful Knights when charity for the build up the.
Good evening, gentlemen. Tonight, we're about to open this meeting in the fourth section. Let our faithful officers assume their respective stations, and the faithful inner and outer sentinels take their posts. Faithful pilot will now advise me and make known if all present are possession of the proper membership card.
Faithful navigator, your order has been obeyed. I report none but faithful knights present, and all are in possession of the current membership cards.
Thank you. So, let the faithful controller call the roll call of our faithful officers. Officers, please stand.
Faithful navigator,
Joker, present,
faithful captain,
present,
faithful parser,
present,
faithful scribe,
present,
inner sentinel,
absent.
trustee 1 year,
Present,
trustee 3 year,
absent,
faithful controller,
present,
faithful admiral,
present,
faithful pilot,
present,
faithful friar,
excuse,
it's a sentinel,
absent. Oh, no, present, outer sample, you already did it.
trustee 2 year,
Absent,
color code commander,
present,
Thank you. Thank you. Faithful pilot, what is the principle of the fourth degree?
patriotism,
Faithful captain, what is our duty to our country?
To respect and obey all lawful authority, to uphold and maintain those whose duty it is to administer the law, to defend and preserve unspotted and unstained the flag of our country and the principles for which it stands.
Thank you. Faithful admiral, what are the duties we have as faithful knights of our honored order?
To maintain unity, to practice the virtues of charity and brotherly love, to exemplify in all our relations with our fellow man the sublime teachings of Holy Mother Church.
And so it is tonight, fidelity to Christ begets loyalty to our country, and the faithful practice of our holy religion begets good citizen and patriot. So tonight, please stand. So tonight, before upon entering our deliberations, let us acknowledge our dependence upon Almighty God and call upon our faithful friar to invoke this blessing by repeating aloud the Lord's Prayer. And if you don't mind, I'll do that. So, and with Camille. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation.
Hail Mary,
full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death.
and the Father, Son, Let's face the flag, and then the pledge allegiance. I pledge
And allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Have a seat. So tonight, I now declare this assembly open for transaction business. Since we don't have faithful prior here, we'll bypass that one. Reading of the minutes of the previous meeting.
Where we facing now, Jada, I'd like to make a proposal that we dispense the reading of the minutes.
Second, all right, so that the meetings, minutes that have been written and posted will stand as they are. Thank you. Reading of bills and communication, and right now, I haven't gotten anything other just anecdotal notes as this meeting will go on. Report of Federal Navigator. I met with council leadership and Ben Knight, Dave Serafino, and Deputy Gary Knight, Steve Monte, to address common leadership challenges and possible solutions. Our philosophy, we are lockstep in making both council and assembly successful. I won't go into it, but just making sure that we are performing and heading for the right goal to make both council and assembly successful. Conducted an assembly leadership meeting at my home, which was this past Thursday. Was the meeting, a dinner and a meeting. So hopefully everybody enjoyed my meal. But regardless, one of the things that we came to the conclusion of is that there are 3 official committees of the assembly: admissions, welfare, and membership. It's a little confusing because admissions and membership kind of blend together. But the point that I bring up is that feedback that I got from the meeting is that I needed to stick to the agenda. And so didn't have very many ad hoc committees, subsequent permanent committees to address. So regardless, there is other committees can be short, episodic. That means that there's a task to be done, and we get a group certain nights together, accomplish that task, and then the committee dissolves or comes back later on. The VA committee, which and let me talk about that in a second. The word committee is that would be considered a long-term committee or commitment because we're doing ongoing activities in that. So when I say committee, it could be synonymous with ad hoc. It could be synonymous with working group. It could be synonymous with a bunch of guys, see a problem, get together. So what I don't want there to be any misunderstanding is that we're having committees that we officially don't need to have committees. Well, one of the alternatives is if it's a long-term standing committee, as with the VA, then it'll be one of our official committees. If it's episodic or type of a group getting together, then I'll put that under new business, follow up on old business, and then once that tasking is done, it's done. Again, just kind of responding back to feedback. One of the other things that we covered on this assembly leadership was the good of the order. And you will notice on the agenda, down at the bottom, the good of the order is that we have identified what's around the room. So in business, that would be around the table or around the room. So the good of the order is not just only for who needs prayers. That's really important, and we will continue to do that. But if an individual wants to raise an issue and they deem it important, I have no problem. All they need to do is contact me before this meeting, and I will put it on the agenda under new business. And then that individual will have the opportunity to address all of us under new business. And where it goes from there will be dependent. Now, one might criticize or say, well, we're not giving individuals enough time to talk. But what happens is, if the issue is important, and it's important to the individual who's raising it, is that stated what's the impact, and then the whole group will acknowledge it, and then maybe we're meeting offline, and then we'll come back under old business and report on the result of that issue, concern that was brought up. So if there's something that is important to you, then just send me an email, call me, and just let me know, and I will put it under new business, because you deserve the right to be able to present it to all of us. And we as a leadership group support that. We decided also with this leadership meeting is that the leadership will meet on a quarterly basis. It was a good meeting. We were able to air some laundry. We were able to identify opportunities for improvement, and so we're going to do that. We're going to have a dinner and a meeting on a quarterly basis, so that we can make sure that we stay on course for what your desires are, what the parish and community needs are. We want to stay focused on that. Lastly, we decided to keep the social hour, and but only modest snacks, not meals. I enjoy cooking. I mean, that's it. But that was a consensus, and so hopefully you find the modest snacks acceptable tonight. And really, it's my pleasure to provide that.
Reverend Trump,
Yes,
thank you.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. So next is the report of the comptroller.
It's elaborated to the 125 members of this.
All right, thank you. All right, report of the faithful person.
We had a ending balance for December was $5,766.08. We had deposits of dues and shirts and $15 of donations, totaling $2,043. Paid out $200 to the Christmas cash for the VA, $45.75 for Miles Kimball Christmas card, and $840 for VA and Winco gift cards, and $36.75 for 2 name badges. Total of $1,121.50. ending balance was $6,687.
Thank you for that report. Report of the Public Court Commander. We had, I hope I don't, mention- I have, the card here, Mrs. Sharon, Kuzman. And there was a brother Knight from, St. Mark's that asked for color core. And, that was done on, 16th December. Why that is particularly important is that, the deceased, her previous husband passed away and she remarried a Catholic man. And she was previously Mormon. So with this funeral mass, the two Mormon daughters were upset with their stepdad and about having a Roman Catholic funeral mass for their mother. But what is really important about this, there's intrinsic value in evangelizing. And sometimes we don't even know it. So after the funeral mass, one of the daughters came up and thanked the color corps for the changing of the guard and the funeral mass procession. They were upset that they were in a Catholic church, but when they saw how we treated their father's mother with honor and dignity, they were just impressed and thankful. Now, this doesn't mean that they're going to convert tomorrow, but you know, when you just never know who you're going to touch and have an impact. And we, Scholar Corps, had that. The annual Catholic Men's Conference on 4 February have some good speakers, and that'll be at St. Paul's Church. The Color Corps will be posting colors and doing the mass procession for Bishop Peak. The following recommendation past district master John Pettinger. He had a suggestion, had a dream. The collective body of the Color Corps members from other assemblies agreed to a Treasure Valley Knights of Columbus Color Corps concept. And we do that already, but now just have it as a concept. So whenever we have training here, I send it out to the different assemblies and they come. And right now, I will tell you, the other assemblies, Color Corps members that come, they're as if they're in this assembly. So because we practice, train together, and we never let a training opportunity go. So when we get there early and we have a span of time, we practice so that we can try to be perfect. Last but not least, it just came off the wire. A knight from St. Mary's, James Surak, you may know him. The family wants a Color Corps. They want to have the mass here, and they want Color Corps to be present. What's interesting about this is that the family has watched Holy Apostles on what do you call it, video or whatever during COVID on Zoom and live stream, and they're so impressed with it that they wanted the wife and the family wanted their loved one, fellow knight, to have it here. And in addition, to have Color Corps, they must have seen us, one or two of those. And even though it's a $200 charge for another parish or a church parishioner to come have mass here, no problem. We're willing to pay. Again, we just never know who's watching, and those who are watching, we're taking notes and sharing that with others. So, you know, good on our church and good on all of us as we do our duties
Joe,
as knights. Yes,
do we know a date on that?
Well, it's a little loose.
Okay.
And it's going to be either February 10th or the 17th. The family hasn't decided yet. So they were just giving me a heads up on that. Okay. Report of committees, admissions, reading applications. Is tonight Ray Henson here? Yeah, there you are. All right.
For the table, really don't have any deluge of applicants at this time. I just remember we do have one, more than likely one who took a Form 4 last month. His name was, Mike Keck. I'm almost sure he's gonna follow through with that. I know he's gonna be a great member. He just became a council, was an example right into council about 3 or 4 months ago. He's very energetic when you speak with him. He may have already done so. So I would say he'd be a great candidate when it comes to that. I have not completed Form 4 at this time. Kyle Bunker. Okay. Oh, yes. Kyle Bunker, okay. There's probably 2 right there, and I'm sure there's 15 others. That we just have
Okay.
got.
And I'm gonna just add, just shortly, so thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Very good.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then, a little confusing, I did a review of the literature and it's really not very clear, but to me, admissions and membership committee kind of blend together, but, regarding that, with just, the need to keep all of us interested in participating, 4th degree and, promoting, increased growth, but at the same time, increase performance in our patriotic obligation. Welfare Committee, tonight, Joe?
I just want to remind everybody, I've been told on how many meetings, nobody's given me names, so let me know if anybody's sick. We'll give a nice message, we have a card for it, for myself, so let us know so we can do that. Okay?
Thank you. And then, the VA hospital,
Good night. So we had a bingo, December 17th. And we had 10 knights show up to help us. Since I've been going down to the VA, I don't think we've ever had that many knights down there. And I want to thank all you guys that came by and helped. I'm sure you got more out of it than the patients there, although they made out pretty well. There were about 34 hours of nights participation hours there. We distributed $75 to 6 patients, and they were very much appreciated. Appreciated the money. I will give a little snapshot of what the VA has sent out. And so, a lot of this may not pertain to you, but I might as well read it anyway. On January 5th, between 1 and 3 p.m., student veterans of American National Conference Employee Summit. That's a meeting they're going to have. January 5th from 11 o'clock to 12. There's a Veterans Experience Live Montana question and answer. And I don't have the particulars on this, but I could get it if anybody's interested. January 9th, 6 to 9 p.m. This is a Veteran Career Transition Assistance Program. And January 11th, free Veteran Skills Program Orientation. And that's all I have for that. Our next bingo is going to be the 21st of January. Starting at 10 a.m. going to 12. Where it's not ours per se, we don't hand out the money in the January VA bingo operation, and that is up to Boise. So,
John,
yeah.
that's a Saturday.
That is a Saturday. Problem is, it's also the March for Life. So we have a little conflict there, but once these things are set at the VA, we can't really change them. The Audrey Hawes, who is going to be sponsoring January bingo, he has voice issues. So usually I will call out the numbers and then hopefully somebody else will show up and call out for the second half. But anyway, no. If you're interested in coming down and participating in this, I think you're going to get a lot out of it. See these guys and help them out. It's worthwhile. So if you're interested, see me after the meeting and I'll contact you. We road chair, whatever it is, in December, and it worked out pretty well.
Thank you very much. This for, Corey. We continue to have an issue that the cathedral is not letting Color Corps know that they would like to have Color Corps there, usually for the Life Mass where they are. And so I don't know how to crack that nut. So typically what would happen is there'll be that 11 a.m. Mass, and Color Corps would be there processing for the bishop and what have you. So that, I don't know who to talk to.
Big friend here. Basically, I admire you for soldiering as much as you are with respect to that, but really that's on the district master. I mean,
Okay.
he needs to be the one to kind of facilitate that information. Now, it's also possible, particularly out here, that people don't know to contact him or don't know his contact information. You know, if you need that information, I can provide it to you, you can give it to them. But for the most part, they need to go through him. And then what he does is kind of goes to the local area after that. I do know that the cathedral has its own assembly. I don't know how active they are. I don't know what they're doing, to be very honest with you. I haven't been privy to that. They're outside of my district, so I don't really know what is honestly going on. So for the most part, we can make some phone calls to the district master to see if he's heard anything. I think it would be a huge missed opportunity if we don't have Color Corps there with the Life Mass, because we get to reach out, you know, to those other parishioners who don't normally get to see that Color Corps. Also, I think it's important that where the bishop goes, so does the Color Corps. I mean, we're kind of his,
It's always been my understanding.
we're kind of his informal guard, maybe, or, I mean, not to minimize one of the very important roles of the Color Corps, but, you know, to be able to dignify his presence by giving him an honor guard is pretty important, my friend.
All right, thank you so much. All right, report of trustee. I see tonight, Coop's here. Wade's not here, so we'll have no report. Unfinished business. Pursuing the 4th degree exemplification ceremony. And right now, we still have 6 made reserved here at this facility. Kitchen, dining room, and gymnasium. So brother District Deputy Corey and I will pursue our counterparts and try to find out if we can get a 4th degree exemplification here on the 6th of May. Because that really helps with membership and retention. Is that it's hard to try to recruit to the 4th degree if we don't have a local 4th degree exemplification. So we're going to really push hard on that. And we got enough certain nights to have experience in doing it and enough talent for helping put that program on. So more information to follow. Under new new business, already talked about it, is that your assembly leadership, that's when I hit two taps and they stand up. We're gonna meet quarterly again, to make sure we're staying on, course with, what you expect as far as leadership and direction of the assembly itself. Report of the third degree.
Beautiful navigator. I just had a few things to bring up. We'll be discussing the Idaho State raffle, the free throw contest, the pancake breakfast, and Saving Nation bingo. Under new business.
All right, thank you. Good of the order. I'm gonna have, our captain, federal captain, Nick, kind of sponsor this, discussion, which I'm hoping that will, happen here. I want to know, how do assembly members every year define the fourth degree patriotism mission? What congruent or what related activities, initiatives should we be pursuing? Feedback. I'm a military guy. Second generation. My dad was in World War II and I followed his footsteps. My uncles and cousins been in service. And although I'm a retired colonel, I'm always a colonel and I'm always ready to defend our streets. So maybe with that enthusiasm, aggressive would be too strong a word, the focus. But what I'm afraid is that, and feedback is that maybe I'm not hitting the right note. And so what I want to do, and what I would appreciate is to have engaged in open conversation with a faithful captain. What does patriotism and the fourth degree mean to you? And in that meaning, what activities should we continue to do, or new activities should we pursue? So maybe to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. First of all, Bill asked me to try to facilitate one discussion. As you mentioned, the leadership team met at his house last Thursday. We're going to get some feedback that not enough time for discussion. And Bill has taken that to heart. About 5 after 7, so there's plenty of time for discussion tonight. And as well as part of the award, we have. I wouldn't want to. Good of the order is not just going to be asked for prayers, we want to spend a lot of money to do prayers. There's also an opportunity to have a dialogue on things that might be of concern to members or suggestions, or things that we could do or should do to further our mission for the things that we understand. But we want to give time for dialogue. Slides and what will navigator around the slides for all of the volunteerism that we have and to go above and beyond, and he's passionate about our city, and he's passionate about all the members and that we're all being fulfilled Joe, I just commend you on all of your efforts, and your commitment to my assembly. So thank you for that. I guess with that, any thoughts, suggestions?
Yeah, by the way, thank you very much for sending that out, Joe, was trying to think about it right here, and, under 1%. Under 1% is the people that have served in the military today. It's not many people that have the background that many of us have. But as I reflected upon that number, I also reflected that a lot of the people didn't grow up like I grew up, with the dad who's a World War II veteran, with uncles that were sent to Pearl Harbor, with relatives. Amazingly enough, I was my only male relative that was in the military. But we all grew up in Boy Scouts, especially just the flag. We all went to church. I guess what I'm saying is, if I look at how to be relative, a lot of people don't have the same background that I have, that you might have had. So perspective is everything. And if I fast forward to what's patriotism, at least for me, it's the Constitution. It's what our forefathers struggled, fought, argued, until they came up with something, and they even called it an experiment. But my point is this, is that if that's what I believe patriotism is, it's formed by Constitution, and then I realize that people don't have the background that I have growing up, well, then maybe we need to get a little bit more into education, educational programs to tie this all together for people that at 11 years old wasn't saluting the flag, the Boy Scouts or something like that. And we can do that. We have the visibility, we have the platform, but we have to make opportunities to go out there and educate. I think that's what that's like.
That's true.
You know, I've been thinking about this from when I was Naval Navigator too, and what is patriotism? And from a bird's eye perspective, I always thought as patriotism in the family, in the church, in the community, local community, and nationally. And so, given this perspective, we can all probably come up with something that shows patriotism in one of those three aspects. History is very important. If anybody wants a Constitution, when I was Naval Navigator, I bought like 50 Constitution little pamphlets, and I want to pass these out if anybody wants one. I don't have them with me, but I can get them. And the Bill of Rights was very important. So patriotism is also voting, right? So there's a lot of different avenues that we can look at patriotism in, and we just have to brainstorm on where we're going from here as patriots. You don't have to be a veteran to be a patriot. You know, that's not criteria. That's not the criteria. The little kids are patriots. You mentioned, Ken, you mentioned Boy Scouts. I was a Boy Scout, and holy mackerel, we learned a lot about the country through, being a Boy Scout. But we can't just keep that knowledge in-house, in our own minds. We have to spread this out to the kids like St. Ignatius. When we changed the flag over there one time, I couldn't believe the roar of the kids that said the Pledge of Allegiance. It was unbelievable. And if you remember that, very gratifying. So we all can come up with suggestions and maybe take some suggestions on how we can be, as an assembly, better patriots and pursue these things.
Yeah, I would, I'll get to you in just a second. I wanted to just share real quick, my personal story. I became, I'm not a veteran. And I wanted to become a fourth degree member so that I could give back to veterans. And, joining the Color Corps, is a very fulfilling thing for me. And, prior to COVID, I started helping out with Rio Window. And, that was, quite a fulfilling thing for me to be able to give back. So, I think that, we've all got our own stories, so, but, as we look to recruit people, we need to try to share our personal story, with people, and what we get out of this. Anyway, just wanted to share that as the truck start. Steve, go ahead.
Thank you. I was thinking about what patriotism means in my view. I think there's synonyms that I could probably use to associate with the word patriotism, which would be dedication, honor, commitment, loyalty, and that approach. If you reflect those values in your approach to everyday life, commitment to God, the family, and the country, I think it goes a long way towards being a good example to others. It doesn't necessarily mean, like you said, you don't necessarily have to be a veteran in order to reflect those values. And the other thing I was thinking about too is maybe we can incorporate an educational program, maybe a short 5-minute span of time during one of our meetings. Just a tidbit on what are some of the ingredients that are associated with patriotism, or things about our country that we've done in the past that a lot of people may not or may know about. So, but again, I think in terms of patriotism, there's a lot that we can do, that we can be good examples of in order to reflect those values to others, in terms of our Constitution and our commitment to our country and to God and our families.
Any other input, thoughts?
From a membership standpoint, I think a lot of people would consider getting some of these discussions underway, training underway, that they may not normally get in on the council side of the house. To go that extra mile to become a fourth degree member, patriotic degree. I think they would like to engage in discussions like what we could do better as not only civic-minded gentlemen, but also defenders of our country, Constitution. So I think that's what a lot of them are looking for. So if they don't get this extra training in stroking, or they may even feel like they've been shortchanged in a way. So I think it would behoove us to indeed come up with a short, albeit regular exposure to discussions like this, because I think that's what people are looking for. To join the board. That's from a membership standpoint.
One thing that I've observed when it comes to being a member of the assembly and also being a fourth degree member of the Knights of Columbus is a lot of members that are in subsequent or that are in subordinate degrees that have taken first, second, and third degree before the combined degree. They look to the fourth degree and it's like, well, what's the difference really? I don't really understand, why there's a whole separate arm of the Knights of Columbus that is, separate from, the other 3 degrees. The council, why does there have to be 2? And I think at the same time, you can kind of see them forming the question or forming the sort of the discussion with you. A lot of the members that are in the council and not have graduated up to the assembly is they look to us as leaders. And they want to know the truth. They want to know, you're now fourth degree members. And I've noticed that members of the Knights of Columbus who do join the fourth degree tend to be a lot more committed members. They tend to be a lot better connected. They tend to be a lot more committed. They tend to be a lot more involved. And also, because we have taken on an additional lesson of the Knights of Columbus, we tend to be a little more knowledgeable, not only about the Knights of Columbus, but also about God and country and about the things that we represent. And I challenge each of you to represent yourself as a leader to our brethren that are in the council. And if you want them to be a part of this assembly and you want them to be involved in this assembly, then you need to mentor them. You need to educate them, you need to be present to them as a leader. More than just whatever title or whatever you earn within the Knights of Columbus, just as a leader, even within one of the four arms of what the council represents: faith, family, community, or life. Take one of those and represent it to the best of your ability, whatever the grace that God has given you. And that's one thing that I'm going to take on as a challenge within myself. I look to a lot of these men who want to continue to grow and expand themselves as Catholic gentlemen. Within the council, we promise that we'll make you a better husband, father, friend, as well as a leader within your church. Well, if we want the next leader, gentlemen, we're going to need to be a leader ourselves first, so that somebody else knows what to follow. That's one thing that I think about patriotism. To be a patriot, you need to be a leader that is solid in truth. And those are the two things that I think it can take my idea that we need to be centered on when it comes to our patriotic presence.
I got a question. Would it be possible to have a fourth degree representative at our ceremony? Usually after the ceremony happens, we have a discussion for myself, Steve, and other members, encouraging the new members to move forward and do stuff. We do mention the fourth degree, but I think it'd be really good to have a fourth degree member on the degree team that can stand up and state at the end, hey, this is your next step, this is the patriotic degree, and answer any questions that they have. Because a lot of times they think, I'm Knight of Columbus now, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, there's a fourth degree. Well, when do I get my sword? Well, you gotta go to the fourth degree. So those questions arise, and I think it'd be great to have a representative from this degree present at every ceremony. We do it once a month, third Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. Usually lasts about 45 minutes, depending on the speaker. Sometimes it might go over. But we're, it's really good. It's a 3-hour-long presentation after looking for some help. So if you want to think about that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Any other thoughts? No. Not, when we, pass the need for prayers.
Good of you other, anyone needing our prayers?
Jason, I just wanted to bring about, Pope Benedict XVI passed away. He passed away, I believe it was on New Year's Day, which is for New Year's Eve. But he passed away in the solemnity of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And I think that's really something for us to be cognizant of. I think we need to be praying for our Pope Emeritus. This is sort of a chapter in our church that we're all trying to figure out together. I think we need to be praying for our church. We need to be praying for the repose of his soul. I pray for Pope Benedict XVI that he, is able to be shuttled to heaven. And I think that we need to be focused on that. So something else written on here that I wanted, after the meeting is over, I'll be passing these pledge cards out. during the month of January, because it is the solemnity of our Blessed Mother. This is a pledge card for life. Normally, as Knights of Columbus members and our families, we will pray the Novena for life. This is an opportunity to put your, I guess, put pen to paper and sign up for this pledge. Basically, on the third sheet of this pledge card is an opportunity for you to sign and date it. And what I'll do is I'll collect all those from you, and I will send them to Supreme, who will then forward them on to the Basilica in Mexico City, Our Lady of Guadalupe. And I presented these to your officers at the council planning meeting on Monday before the holiday. And so I'll be passing those out. So it's something that I wish you and your family could commit to. And I'll collect those from you. I'll be handing out this paper. Thank you for that.
Really, just a moment of, another tidbit of, Pope Benedict XVI. He is one of the greatest, theologians of our time. Great theologian. They'd say that people wanted to be around St. John Paul II, but they wanted to always listen to, Pope Benedict XVI and what he had to say. And if you can get any one of his books, you'll be amazed on his knowledge base of the faith and how simple he makes it. So, thank you.
Yeah, I have a question for the players. Brother John Walters, I don't know if anybody knows.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
When he contacted me on a news issue, however, turns out he got a knee replaced last year in the middle of the year, and then as that was getting healed, fell off a ladder and broke ribs and damaged both his ankles. So I think from a welfare point of view, I'm going to pass that one on to you. I don't know, just keep him in your prayers, because he's going through a lot of bad spell right now. Thank you.
Anything else?
Tony and his wife, we got our moved to a private facility. You know, which she's not getting any rehab care, nothing like that. She just laying in bed. Drinking water, counting time. You know, Tony says he's all right, he's handling it. You know, he spends about 12 hours a day with it, then he comes home, gets some sleep. He goes back. So we send him a card, you know, probably.
Joe?
I got his address.
Okay. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Yes.
Yes, I would like prayers for a woman who was in a small faith group that I belong to here in the parish. Her name is Linda. She's going to go into surgery tomorrow. So appreciate any prayers that we have for her.
Have it. Okay. All right, so tonight, if there's no, any further business to come before this assembly, if there be none, we shall proceed to the close of the meeting. Faithful pilot, what are the emblems of this degree?
The flag, the sword, and the cross.
Yes, so tonight, these glorious symbols typify patriotism, liberty, and faith, the heavenly sent attributes of our Christian citizenship. Faithful pilot, what do you say for the flag?
The flag of our country, we love it and shall ever defend it.
Faithful admiral, what do you say for the sword?
Let us keep it bright for liberty's sake.
Faithful captain, what do you say for the cross?
This is the cross of Christ, the exponent of Christian ideal, the conqueror of death, giver of life. Supreme reverence for this sacred symbol will crown our country queen and the sisterhood of nations. It is the bulwark of national honor, the inspiration of patriotism, the guardian of personal worth, for it was crimson with the blood of self-sacrifice.
Okay. Tonight's undying alliance, to, the cross of Christ and to Christ victor upon the earth. Matt, Stan O'Neill.
And the Father, Son,
Holy Spirit, amen.
I'll finish the prayer again, since, there's still, of a terrible conflict going on over there. God of love, the world is wrought with war and violence, as brother turns on brother, and the innocent awake to gunfire and bombs. May your compassion and healing rid hearts, and bring a new day to Ukraine. Fortify your children to resist aggression, and instead become instruments of peace. We ask this in the name of the one who is the Prince of Peace, Jesus Christ. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace.
Blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of
May the Queen of Peace,
our death. Pray for us.
may they help Christians,
Pray for us.
in the name of the Father, Son,
May I be seated? Tonight, I now declare this assembly, duly closed until our next appointed meeting, which will be, the first Monday of February, as far as I know. All right, with that, thank you for being here tonight. And, thank you, faithful captain, for leading. Good.